Hey guys, we're here at the D23 Expo 2015. It's been 2 years since D23 returned to us at the Anaheim Convention Center. We are excited to be here. There's been a lot of build-up. It's always interesting to see what D23 rolls out. It's a very different type of convention. Obviously, they use the term Expo, which kind of brings about a little bit different of a connotation. But that being said, in the world we live in, we kind of call them all cons, right? And so as we make our way around the floor, we're going to do this video a little bit different. There's so much going on in terms of exhibits, the show floor, all of that type of stuff all wrapped together. We're going to kind of make our way around, show it to you all in kind of one big clump here as we do transition. So for example, we'll start out here at the Shanghai Disneyland exhibit, which is a lot of fun, lots of cool stuff there. Then we'll make our way to other parts of the exhibit hall, as well as maybe some panels as we go through. One big thing to note, they do not allow recording in some of their panels and various exhibit parts too, so we have to be very careful about what we record. We always want to make sure to be within the rules. So if there's things that are big, for example, maybe a Force Awakens panel that you notice we have no video of, that's for good reason. You know, we have been asked not to record that. So we're going to make our way around, show you a bunch of stuff, then we're going to come back at the end and wrap it all up and talk about what this was. There was a lot of things to do here for free. There's a lot of things to do here for pay. How did it all work out? What did we love? What are things we want to see maybe change in the future, and give you an overview of what D23 Expo 2015 was for us.
And then you come back into the big show box where we have a few little pieces. Yeah. It gives you an idea as far as when the show's going to be like inside.
And then it'll finish inside.
Yeah. They go on that side.
That's a pretty girl in a yellow dress. Yeah. You know, so they don't have any history. So we're kind of introducing it as like the best who we are as Disney. And this is the first boat ride that goes underneath the castle. Slightly. Exactly. I get it.
Imagineering, and right now though I'm on loan to Alpha Centauri Expeditions. They are the interstellar tour company that is making your trip to Pandora possible. So what I have right here is just a quick little video, tells you a little bit about ACE, but more importantly it tells you a lot about Pandora and all the beautiful and amazing things that you're going to see and be able to do when you get there. And there's also testimonials of some travelers who have been and come back, so they have their stories to tell. So it's just a couple of minutes, and without further ado,
Alpha Centauri, home to Pandora. It's light years away. A world without limits, a place without boundaries, where wonder and relaxation intersect with adventure. Welcome to Pandora. Hello, I'm Marshall Lamb, founder of Alpha Centauri Expeditions. Our goal from day one has been to give families the opportunity of a lifetime to visit Pandora. Pandora wasn't always open to visitors. When the barriers were first broken, it was accessible only to the most extreme explorers. Now, what has long been considered unreachable has become a reality thanks to ACE's collaboration with Disney's Animal Kingdom. From families to thrill seekers, there's something here for everyone.
It's really an honor to help visitors experience Pandora. When people see the floating mountains, they don't think it's real. They think it's an illusion. They think there's some kind of magic trick going on, because it's just so unlike anything on the planet Earth.
We had an amazing time. The kids especially had a great time. They really enjoyed the nighttime nature hikes, the environment, the floating mountains, but we really enjoyed the food, especially the steam table.
I went on a canoe on a pretty river and got a pretty wristband.
It was awesome. I got to ride a banshee. We got to dive off cliffs and just fly around these huge floating mountains. It was amazing.
I've been a whole lot of places, looking at customs, countries, cultures, landscapes. I've never seen anything like this. It is an entire new world. What a way of life. It really makes you think about the way we live back on Earth.
Walking through the forest at night, it's almost like walking through a dream. The forest lights up, everything comes to life. It's so magical.
As you can see, this is truly a world of marvelous discoveries and the absolute best vacation destination in the universe. So join us and journey to Pandora.
so is everybody excited? Cody said that it's an extreme adventure, I saw you nod your head, then you know that it's an extreme adventure. So just a couple of heads up, when you go into our exhibit space, we have a beautiful model of the area of Pandora that we're preparing for your visit. Just make sure that you look closely. There are humans on that model, and it will show you the scale of Pandora. And also it transitions from day to night, so you'll see how beautiful it is during the day and how beautiful at night. So on behalf of Ace and myself, there will actually be people in there also who will be answering questions about Pandora. So enjoy your time. We welcome you to our exhibit.
Pandora. Like I said, this is a scale model, so it's smaller than what we're actually preparing for you on Pandora. You'll see people on that model. Those people on that model are about this big. Okay, they represent a 6-foot tall person. That's my height. So if you can imagine stacking one of those people on top of the other all the way up to the top of the floating mountains, that'll give you an idea of how big those floating mountains are, how tall they are, and how vast this landscape is. I'm an Imagineer, but I'm currently on loan to Alpha Centauri Expeditions. I've been making many trips back and forth to Pandora, preparing your travels, and we've set up 2 different excursions for you while you're here on Pandora. One of those excursions is you're going to be able to fly on the back of a Banshee. Those are the flying creatures that the Na'vi ride. The Na'vi are the indigenous culture that live here on Pandora. Well, you'll be able to climb on one of those Banshees and fly it around Pandora and see some of the landscapes and some of the beauty that makes up this alien planet. Something that very few humans have ever been able to experience. I personally have been able to fly on a Banshee, and I can tell you, if you've never ridden or never flown on an animal before, it's truly a unique experience, life-changing. The last thing I'll mention is that there's a bioluminescent forest, that there's a river that goes through. You'll be able to climb on a boat, float that boat down a river, and experience a bioluminescent forest. This is a place that's sacred to the Na'vi, but they're allowing us to come into that space because they know that everyone that floats down that river will be changed and bring back the learnings from Pandora to Earth. So the last thing that I'll mention is this is Pandora at night. And at night, something even more magical happens. This is when all of the alien plant life on Pandora bioluminesce. That means that those plants give off their own light. Something that you've never seen before on Earth. Pandora becomes alive with light. It dances with light. It's truly beautiful. So I encourage all of you to come to Walt Disney World in Florida, come to Disney's Animal Kingdom in 2017, where you'll be able to travel to Pandora. I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Feel free to take any photos or any video of the model, but hope to see you there in 2017.
When you're done, I need you at the couple. Can you throw my phone maybe?
That means it saves to my phone. No, it's
We're selling the whole set here for $100. Yeah.
500 did 12.
We're in the line.
Let's go do this now. Thank you.
Disney restaurant.
Harvard Disney, you actually did it. I know, right?
Those lights didn't use to strobe. Those lights used to stay on. They've added lighting.
All right, we're going to wrap up our D23 Expo experience with our Under the Con. If this is the first time you're tuning in, Under the Con is where we go underneath the under the hood of the convention, talk a little bit about what we found, show some of the things we picked up, talk a little bit about the larger framework of the show. We're going to hit on some points here, but definitely, you know, we hope you enjoyed the visual and stuff, but really what we hope is that after seeing all these visuals, taking it all in, following along with our snippets on YouTube and Periscope and all that, head over to our podcast, Parks and Cons, on either iTunes or Stitcher, where we go much more in depth as we've been recording throughout the show. So first off, let's just talk a little bit about some of the freebies, the swag. It's always a favorite for people. Upon entrance, got some nice D23 Expo bags sponsored by Target there. Got Alice Through the Looking Glass posters, and these are nice. These are like thick. You know, these aren't just the standard kind of thin posters that you get at cons. A lot of times these are really actually very nice. And just some more random swag things. Star Wars was all over the place in different forms. Got some buttons there. One thing really wanted to hit on though is this card. They did this trading card game, and it was pretty fun. They had a whole trading headquarters. Some of these connect into scenes, like you can put Chip and Dale together or R2 and C-3PO, and it was a lot of fun to be kind of trading these, looking for them. What they would do is basically have these random trading spots that would pop up. Sometimes they would tweet them, sometimes they wouldn't. In the case of the Hatbox Ghost, it was a mad dash. It seemed like half the convention ran to Hall A to grab these cards, but a deck of them came in the guide, which was neat. I think it caused some operational problems just in terms of the distribution of the guide, because they're super protective of them, which slowed all of the registration process of getting into the con up. But in general, a really cool idea. Gave people things to do. And people use that time in line to, you know, deal the cards out and trade them and try and put together full sets. And a lot of fun. It was a really nice kind of add-on to the convention. I think D23 really focuses on trying to make a good fan experience. As I said, there were some operational issues. We'll kind of get to those at the end, but I think really the intent there is to give people a variety of things to do. And this was a good example of that. Now, one thing we don't really necessarily expect from D23 Expo, but we did find was some good deals on the floor. I mean, we didn't pick up a ton of things, but historically the floor has been a little bit more expensive. You know, as you know, if you follow along with us, our strategy in terms of shopping is always shop opposite of the market. So, you know, try and not buy Disney at a Disney show, try and not buy comics at a comic show. Not that, you know, we don't dip into those things, but a lot of times you can find great deals of comics at toy shows and toys at comic shows and vice versa. But picked up some Disney things. We found these Vinylmations for just $5 a piece, and some characters there that we needed, and that was kind of a fun find. Found some of them for a good deal more on the market at other cons recently. And then we picked up some nice Marvel stuff here. These are, you know, matted things. These were only $1, which blows me away. I'm not sure why. This was only $5. This giant Fantastic Four. We have no wall space for this, so I'm not sure what will do it, but there was no way we were going to pass it up. It was fun stuff there, and they had a lot more variety there. I mean, again, we're just limited on space, so didn't do much shopping there, but you could have really loaded up there and done some fun stuff with that. Okay, let's talk exclusives. Disney, all about merchandise. D23 Expo, all about exclusives. We hit up a couple spots, not a ton. As big of a deal as exclusives are at the D23 Expo, it's never really been our main focus. As much of it as it is our main focus at San Diego Comic-Con, normally the merchandise, it's usually been too competitive. I mean, a lot of stuff just ultra rare. For example, this year, the Once Upon a Time dolls that were limited to 300, or the Star Wars die-cast figures limited to 500. When you have that small of a number, it's very much like what Lego does at San Diego Comic-Con. It's just really not even worth our time as we see. It's just too much of a time investment for a chance at something. But that being said, we did hit Hallmark and picked up the Itty Bitties. This is one of those things, kind of like the Gentle Giant jumbo figures that we seem to only pick up at cons. So we've gotten those at Celebration and at San Diego. And then we also grabbed the ornament, which is a really neat classic black and white, the band concert, Mickey Mouse. These went a lot faster than in 2013. They seem to be quite popular, and they were a little bit of a fight in the mornings. Not as tough as something like San Diego for Hallmark, but still a bit of a you know, grind to get those. Where we did before we get to the Dream Store, also picked up this Pixar shirt. John Lasseter kind of has had his own focus this year, and this was kind of a nice kind of tie into the John Lasseter display that they had. Obviously, it's not a Hawaiian shirt, but still a fun exclusive shirt. This was only sold on Friday. We were able to get one of those. We did make it into the Dream Store, and so the Dream Store, there's 3 different exclusive stores there. There's Mickey of Glendale's, which is an Imagineering based exclusive store. There's the Disney Store, which links to, the Disney Store at the mall that you might see, or World of Disney in downtown Disney. Did not make it into there. It was seemingly 3-4 hour lines. We've heard from a few people that got in line 2 or 3 in the morning, didn't get in there till noon or 1 the next day. Too much for us. But we did make it into the Dream Store, about a half-hour wait, and picked up quite a few things in those visits there. First off, wanted to pick up Mr. Toad plush. I'm a big Mr. Toad fan. You don't find much merch to go with him, so that was kind of a fun thing. They had a few different exclusive Vinylmations. We didn't pick up the Aristocats, but we did pick up the Star Wars Rebels, the Avengers Vision, Jiminy Cricket, and then Chernabog. Chernabog, interestingly, was the first to sell out of these. The rest of these were still left late going into Sunday there. Love this, love this. Picked this up for $40. Just a neat image. Again, I'm not really sure where this is going to fit in our collection because we're kind of overflowing with stuff right now, but just love the look of it there. Some of these things may hit. This was one I believe is going to hit the stores eventually, but it's kind of an early release. Some of them are exclusive only to the con, like the BB-8 pin. This was released on Friday at the Dream Store. I was really excited to get this. There's so little Force Awakens merchandise, obviously, as of now. I mean, we're just a month away from it being totally saturated, but for now, need to get your hands on something BB-8. We were unable to get our hands on anything Star Wars Force Awakens in terms of apparel at Celebration, but we picked up a couple of the shirts for Force Awakens. It's just kind of neat. Has the date on it, in theaters December 18th, 2015, and really loving the sweatshirt picked up. I think we'll be wearing this. Hopefully it's cold enough that this will be something wearing quite a bit in the winter. Nice at the Dream Store too, you get your annual pass discount, so got 20% off on everything, which was awesome. They didn't ask in any of the times. Went through the store actually, twice. Neither time did they actually ask, so if you're looking at this for 2017, make sure to point out to them and say, hey, can I use my discount there? Also picked up R4D23, which is fun. He's got the Sorcerer's hat on. I mean, it's against the Droid Factory models, but fun stuff there. So, this is really more exclusives than we've ever bought at D23 Expo. We get a ton of questions on the exclusives because we're so big on that at San Diego, and we do know the answers to most of them when it comes to San Diego, whereas when it comes to D23, we're kind of learning the system ourselves and kind of figuring things out. Just again, super competitive. Now, as they have more Marvel and Disney stuff, I'm guessing we're going to get better and better at the exclusives, because that's really where our passion is most when it comes to collecting in terms of Disney stuff. And so as much as we like, the true, Disney parks stuff for sure, at the end of the day, Star Wars and Marvel is something that really catches our attention. It's what drives us to the Marvel booth, to the Hasbro booth at San Diego Comic-Con. So we'll see. Would have loved to have checked out the Disney store. As I said, the 1 in 500 die-cast set. I don't see myself really buying those when they hit the Disney store, but it was neat to see them all in one spot. I believe they're going for over $1,000 on eBay. I know the Once Upon a Time dolls limited to 300 were going for like 1,500 or something last I looked. It's crazy, the markup on a lot of this stuff, but what's also crazy, and I never get it, whether you're looking at Lego or the Disney store, Lego at Comic-Con, Disney store here, or any of these places that do these 300 or less or 500 or less, I don't get that limited of run. I think, doing 2,000 is a very limited run when it comes to these conventions and the voracious appetite of collectors. So I think, 300 runs, it just causes people to try and kill each other and makes for not really a very friendly environment, because they're battling so many people that are just going for things for pure profit. But that being said, it's something to kind of be aware of as you're looking into D23 Expo. They don't release their exclusives in any sort of real clear format either. The way something like San Diego, it's very clear this is all going to be at Funko, this is going to be at Maddie, things like that. Here it's a little bit ambiguous where each of the exclusives are, what they're going to have. There's things that pop up all the time. I know the die-cast Star Wars, people were really excited to see it because people knew it was going to be there, but nobody knew what it was going to look like. There was a Princess Leia kind of Barbie style doll. It just popped up, New Hope version. Nobody knew it was coming. All of a sudden it was there, and then it was, before you knew it, it was gone and going for $400 on eBay. So it's a really interesting kind of design that the stores use at D23 Expo. But again, we were able to pick up some fun stuff. Very happy with our purchases there. In terms of the overall show, you cannot argue with the fun that they pack onto the floor. The Shanghai exhibit, Avatar, the Star Wars Force Awakens stuff was amazing. The archives, there's a lot of fun things on the floor that are free, meaning you've paid your admission and now they're great entertainment that you can get into. We talked about it with Scare LA recently. It's just there's a lot of value when you can hit panels or not hit panels and still be entertained. And the fact that you could spend a good couple days at D23 Expo, never go into a panel room and never buy anything and still have a really good time says a lot about the quality of the convention and what they do to pack into the program. That being said, we loved what we saw at the Parks panel. I think the Parks panel is going to go down, Parks and Resorts is going to go down as one of my highlights as we do our podcast of kind of our most memorable moments of 2015. Really cool stuff there. I mean, Star Wars Land kind of swept up the entire con. I don't think really people are going to remember a ton about D23 Expo 2015 outside of the Star Wars Land announcement. Toy Story coming to Hollywood Studios, also exciting. A new Soaring, all the stuff going on at Shanghai, Pandora, James Cameron showing up on stage, Stan Lee crashing the stage, Iron Man coming in. Tons of great points, tons of great fun moments, but in the end it was just this packed hour and a half of entertainment, and I think it was all about Star Wars Land at the end of the day, and that's kind of the theme of this year's con. I mean, Star Wars really has taken over 2015, and it definitely took over the D23 Expo 2015. There were operational issues for sure. You may have seen on social media lots of issues with lineups. For me, they're on a D23 membership. We had one press pass. Carmel used it. I used the D23 pass. The first day I got in line a bit earlier. I ended up being in line an hour, 55 minutes. The second day, it seemed they fixed a few things. They came out and scanned badges earlier in the morning, but it still took me 2 hours and 5 minutes to get in. The doors were supposed to open at 9. They seemed to open earlier, but I was still even getting in line around 7:20 a.m. Didn't get in until after 9:30 a.m. So there's a lot that has to be ironed out there. The lines on the floor, similar to the Celebration, there's a lot of zigzagging into each other. A lot of times you're having to cross lines to get to other lines. They really need to focus in on bringing in some pure convention people, some people that run several cons a year to work, and I'm not sure that they're doing that. I really don't know the behind the scenes, but it feels like it's a lot of cast members coming together, doing the best job they can to put together an awesome themed entertainment event, but that they don't really have that convention background where they're doing this in and out. If you're not doing a couple conventions a year, you can get rusty fast, and it's hard all of a sudden when you have 40,000 people or however many showing up at the door wanting to get all of the Hatbox Ghost cards or whatever it is. Oftentimes cast members seemed overwhelmed by the moment. The Hatbox Ghost card was a good example of that. They put it out on Twitter, come out to Hall A and get it, and all of a sudden there was probably about 1,000 people in a circle, and they were upset and frustrated that everybody wasn't in a straight line. And anybody that's been to a convention recently knows that's not how conventions work. It's like throwing food, blood out to the sharks. They're just going to frenzy in there, and so that's the convention world we live in. And I think that when D23 Expo was born, it wasn't a world that had as much of that con background. There weren't as many conventions going on, but now a lot of these people have been to a lot of conventions and they have some background with it, and they have expectations, and they want cues to be clear, and they want the signage always to be correct. They want volunteers here, staff members. They want them manned at each corner of each line to kind of regulate things and make sure people aren't cutting and stuff like that. And that's something that's going to have to happen here as D23 expands. The more Star Wars and Marvel they have, the more crowded this show is going to become. It's just a fact of matter, and I think they shook the world with some really fun things that happened in the live action panel, some things that happened on the floor and the parks panel, and it's only going to be more crowded in 2017. So hopefully they really focus in on that, maybe bringing in some of the people from Reed Pop that they use for Star Wars Celebration, or anyone else that really has a solid convention background to help them kind of iron out some of these issues, so it can kind of marry the amazing show that they put together, the spectacle, with a really strong infrastructure. And I think that's really where this is a con that has beautiful icing and a very tasty cake, but structurally it's not sound, and sometimes it crumbles, and that can hurt things when you have people outside for several hours in the very hot sun. And it's August. It was a particularly hot weekend this weekend, but I mean, it's August in Southern California. It's going to be hot in 2017, 2019, whenever they come back, you've got to find a way to queue people up inside, get them inside right away, because otherwise it starts the whole day off in a bad note. And then when you're inside, there was a bunch of problems with stage pass and store pass and these things. Again, I think the cast members are doing the best they can. It's just this isn't their natural environment. This is a big time show. This isn't a small show. This is a WonderCon. This is a Phoenix Comic Con. This is a big show. And so they need that help there. So, but really excited about the time we had there. Tons of highlights to it. I think we've enjoyed ourselves maybe a little bit more each expo. And so we're excited about what that means for the future as they continue to kind of blend their various amazing properties. I mean, Disney's on top of the world with Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar and all these amazing brands. And that's not even getting into, you know, the Fab Five and Cinderella and Mr. Toad and all these things. So a very exciting future ahead. We definitely look forward to D23 Expo 2017. We definitely suggest you check it out. For more talk on all this, head over to our podcast, Parks and Cons, as I said, on iTunes and Stitcher. We're going to go much more in depth and kind of walk you through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, some of the highlights, some of the things, again, kind of operationally to look at for the future, and just what made D23 Expo such an exciting show, even if it was a little hot standing in some of those lines. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.